Hey, what's up, YouTube? Update, made some changes. Try to get this tank going here so I can get it to what I want it to be eventually. I want Corraline algae, nothing worked. So I took it upon myself to make a few big changes. The Marine 2.0 light that I had on there, the fluval light, which I thought would just be able to be good enough for softies and stuff. I figured, well, let me just change that, and I did. I got this Geissman T5 lamp going, and kind of happy with it, except that I wanted to put it higher up over the tank, and it just doesn't seem as bright, but it really is brighter. I mean, I can tell by when I look at it, it's like freaking really bright. So I have it down closer, and there was a lot of spillover into the room, and my wife hates that. So I had to drop it low, but it's bright now. And right now the water's very cloudy because I just cleaned up the tank. Of course, when I added this light, I had algae bloom. Pretty good one of brown hair algae, green hair algae. And so I went and got a cleanup crew. I got 3 Mexican turbos, and they went to town. That whole back was covered with this brown hair algae, I guess you can call it. And they went to town and cleaned it up. They cleaned up the rock really well. And I still have this area down here, which they haven't really worked. And then of course you have the discoloration of the rock in that brown color, because they don't get it down to the root, I guess. They can eat it, but it's still there. The sand bed's got a lot of green and brownish colored algae. I did knock his home down, so now he's all out of sorts. And I haven't seen his little buddy cleaning out the hole where they live, so maybe I crushed him or something, I don't know. But as soon as I turned the lights, changed these lights, and went on a trip for 2 or 3 days, I came back and I had Corraline algae. So that was one of the major things that was probably holding me back, is those lights that I had on prior weren't really conducive to creating Corraline algae that I wanted to start going in this tank. And if you can see here from my last update, I had some here. Now I have a bigger area of it. This little thing that the clowns hang out in, I have some there going. And on the back glass, you can see spots appearing right there. Right there, that spot. Focus, bitch. Okay, so I have that going. I also bought a chunk of live rock which had a lot of pink and purple Corraline algae on it, and I actually busted it up, put it in my other tank, and put it in there, but then took off the little pieces that came off, and then I scraped and chipped and crushed the Corraline algae off. Here's one fragment of that rock right there. That's real Corraline, that's not painted Carib Sea. And I'm using it to seed the tank. Use that, another couple pieces around like that one. And then I also scraped it and dusted it all over the rocks. And I think the combination of the light, dusting, and seeding the tank with actual Corraline algae brought my temperature to 79 degrees. And then I also made another change, which is I started dosing Kalkwasser to get my alkalinity to about 8 or 9. I was like around 7. And I got 1 point up by dosing the Kalkwasser, which I'm pretty much out of, so I just shut off the dosing pump. I gotta go out and refill this thing. So you can see my little lines here, those are the refill points. So I've been dosing Kalkwasser. My first time I did this, I did about a ½ teaspoon per gallon, I think is what it was. The second time I did a teaspoon per gallon. And I did mix it with some with distilled water from the supermarket. I don't have an RO thing. I just use distilled supermarket water. I'm hoping that's okay. Maybe that was the algae bloom. occasionally that I get, or maybe it was from that live rock I brought in and it had green algae on it as well. Who knows? But it could just be the lights. I really woke up the algae in the tank. So I've been dosing Kalkwasser in my ATO, testing my pH every day, and it seems to be an 8.2. Calcium, I use basic test kits I use are the API, I guess they're called, and calcium is at like 500. I was dosing some Purple Up to help with the iodine and the things that help coralline algae, and my magnesium was really high according to a Red Sea test kit. So I stopped doing any dosing of magnesium because I was over like 1600, which is more than enough. So I don't want to overdo anything like that. But again, I have the algae. I'm thinking my next step would be to do maybe one more hand cleaning of the algae and seeing if that can get it a little under control. And then my cleanup crew that I added of 3 Mexican turbo snails, 20 blue leg hermits, and I have a Naceria snail in here somewhere. I haven't seen him in a while. Will help do the trick by maintaining it. The other thing I might do is go get some of that algae cleaning bacteria. I forgot what it's called. Shoot, I always happens to do this on YouTube. You could just look it up. BRS did a test on it, and it really helps clean up the algae, helps promote coralline growth, and helps the cleanup crew with getting overwhelmed. So I think that might be what I do next. This guy settled down a little bit. Whenever I clean the gravel, he just totally freaks out. So, but he's still freaked out. That's not his regular place. His regular place is usually right down here in a hole, which you can kind of see right there. But again, the algae, doesn't really bother me that much. I know it can go away. I can get rid of it with some other stuff, but I like to do it more of a slow approach. The light on the camera looks very blue, but to me it doesn't look very blue at all in real life. So I'm not sure how that works, why that looks like that. So that's it. So dose Kalkwasser and change the light. I have Geissman lights in there because I bought that on BRS. So it was discounted. It seemed like a reasonable purchase. I have it hanging from the ceiling, and I had extended cables I had to go out and go get so it would hang. And it says you should hang it 7 inches from the fish tank, but I just have too much light spill over because this tank is very narrow. It is very narrow. So I think my spillover, when you raise it up, will come out because the edge of the light is pretty much on the edge of both display area sides. And the higher you go, the more it will spill. And I do have a little bit of shading on the ends, but if I go higher, I actually have, I just saw, oh, that was my hand. I thought the light was going out. I have actual spillover and I get more light, but my wife does not like light spilling over into the room. And she's out of town right now. And I figure I got some quiet in the house. I can do this quick video update. I got my temperature at 79. I was around 80. And then when I added the lights, I saw some fluctuation. So I wanted to match the temperature in the water closest to the room temperature that we keep the house in most of the time. So my heater's always just pushing the temperature up a bit. And the Geissman, I don't really feel any much heat coming from it. I thought it was gonna heat the water up a little bit, but it's not. It's a nice light fixture. It's on sale now. It's kind of like outdated. I guess people want the LED T5 combo. I mean, I can figure out a way to put T5 strips on this groove that goes in here and maybe angle them in. I don't know, I'm not interested in that right now. I got coralline algae, I got a cleanup crew, I got healthy fish. Once I get this algae under control, maybe using that product that just the name escapes me. Anyhow, that's it, quick update, see some progress. And finally got some coralline algae, can start coating my rocks since the last video I made not too long ago. The lights, the Kalkwasser, and that's about and cleanup crew helping out a little bit, try to make the difference here. That's it. Have a good day.